Welcome back to episode 20 of Titan, and this time we are going to continue with the work that started last time to sort out the atmospherics in the greenhouse, which is very nearly finished. Going to also try to sort out the power supply because this is not as happy as I'd like it to be. So, rather than just building endless wind turbines, I have a plan. We have drills and they are extracting a reasonable amount of coal, more than I'm going to need just for making steel. So I reckon, with a bit of cunning, I can intercept the chute network somewhere up here. And I'm going to put in a sorter, which I'm going to set to extract coal, and then I'm going to put in either another sorter or I might put in a flip-flop digital chute. I think they both only use 5 watts, so it doesn't make much difference, to take 50% of the coal and put the other 50% back in the tube so it goes in, ends up inside. And then the 50% I extract, I'm going to feed down into here, and I'm going to put some logic in here to say if the battery is not adequately charged, then trigger this until it is charged, which means I need to run a normal power cable through the wall here somewhere to connect to the battery, which is a bit of a pain. So I'm going to put a proper frame under this, I think, before I do anything else. So that's the plan. Whether I can manage all of that in one episode, let's find out. So the first thing I know I'm going to need is cable. I'm pretty sure I have, no copper. Not only that, there's no copper in there. There's almost no copper in there. And if I can find the spot. Can't even find the spot, but let's assume there's probably no copper in here. I'll turn it on and double check. No copper in there. So problem 1, no copper. Let's go see if we can find any. No, I think we have very little in here of anything because we had to shut the system down. So that is a problem. Okay, well, let's get on with the things I can do. So we can start off, I'm going to make one of those, and I'm going to put down a steel frame. I'm going to put that, let's turn that on so it actually comes through. Right. Should have turned off other things, but we'll manage probably. Right, so I'm going to put that under here. I can't do it like that, so I'm going to have to first okay, that's good. Cool. Okay, now I can see what I'm doing here a bit better. So actually, that is the indoor cable. So I should have color-coded these cable networks better. That's going in to power the inside. I could just take a feed off that and into here. I don't really ideally want to. I'd rather have a separate data network, but I think that might be the most sensible approach. And let me see whether I can. I realise I've just cut the power inside, which has reset the lights, but I think it's worth it for a minute. It's a 3-way corner. Yep, okay, so that can come out there as well. There we go. Right, now, I need to think about how I do this. I really need to colour code these as well. Because I've got to get under this cable here. So, I mean, the logical thing to do is to actually rip out these and run it underneath there. Yeah, that's probably actually the smart way to do that. I know I've just welded it, but you know, sometimes you just got to do a bit of rework. Right. So let's drop down here. Let's just run that along there. Along there. Right, okay. So that's fine. So if I re-weld this one, I'll be able to connect to it. Right. Any chance of any copper in the meantime? Have we been lucky? No, we haven't, and I'm on power critical as well. Lovely. Right, so the reason I'm coming here is I know I need black paint for the atmospherics room, and I want another colour for the other power network. I mean, I guess blue's as good as any. Right, I'm probably going to need two actually. Right, how's this looking? Not as bad as critical, so I'll take that. Right, this is actually really messy to do now. I should have done it much earlier on, but I didn't. I was going to use a ton of paint doing it like this. It's not the best way really, but just need to do enough that I can see what I'm doing further along. Ultimately all of this is going to be, I possibly would have been better off just painting the stuff inside the hab honestly, but there we go. Let's get enough done that I can follow this through later if I need to, and I can see what's connected where. That's enough to get it inside the workshop, so that's fine in that way. And we'll just run the rest of it down here, just paint all of this. Right, there we are. Okay, that's not great, but it's enough that at least I can see kind of what's going on. Right, so I think we still have no copper, but what I do probably want is to grab the coal out, because I have a feeling we're going to need it shortly. I'm going to recycle that as well, get rid of it. Yeah, you've done your bit for humanity. Right. Okay, so in the meantime, what can I usefully do? I can usefully make some chutes. So we'll be fine with some basic chutes for most of the routing, for which we want to. Smelt that. I want a sorter. That needs copper, so that's no good. A feel like we've gone back in time with several episodes. Is there anything going in there? No, there's not. Okay, so let's just flick that and at least get that going somewhere. That's running. Something's emptying. I hear it. I can't work out which one. Must be that one, I suppose. Maybe not. Okay, I don't know which one that was. I thought something was empty. Oh, it's that one. There we go. Okay, good. Right, so that hopefully means there is some copper through here. That would be nice, wouldn't it? I need to rig up some buttons to eject what I want out of this. This is tedious. Oh, here it comes. Oh, it's too quick. Got here before the ore. Oh, no, we've got some gold. Amazing. I'll take that, because we know that's going to be needed. What I really want is the copper, which must... There we are. Okay, it's not very much, it's 14, but let's get it done. No, it's just going to roll around, is it? Okay, fair enough. Right, you can go in there, and let's turn that on. Right, so we're going to be able to make 16 in there. Do it. Right, come on. Lovely. You can go in there. Right, now, I needed, how much did I need for that sorter? I think it was 2 more, 3 more. Okay, so let's... That can go in there. Gonna need a second sorter anyway, because I'm gonna need something to split it, unless I use a powered. Why am I looking at turning that off? That would be dumb. Right, okay, what I also definitely need is some more cable. We can't make a huge amount, I'll make 10. Which will not be enough, but it's a start. Power critical again. Right, actually power tubes need electrum and constantan, so that's an interesting one. Okay. Right, let's grab that. Oh dear. Oh dear, no power. I guess you're going in there then. Ideally, fast enough to save me from dying. That would be really, really nice if you could do that for me. Right, okay, now in the meantime, let's get this set up. So we're going to drop that. It's going to have to come across anyway, so we may as well do that. And... that way round. There we go. Right, and then that. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that will be fine. I think we've got enough to connect that to there. Okay, maybe we'll put some sort of control on here in that case. Going to need an IC housing either way, which is a bit annoying. Get my head down under here. Right, that connects to there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and hopefully I've done that right. 5, there we go, lovely. Okay, so that's that connected. Oh, what happened there? Not sure what happened. It looked like it welded and then hadn't. Right, okay, so that is now connected to the red network here. So I can put some automation around that. And I can use the same automation to drive the sorter. That was a little close for comfort. Okay, this is charging now, so the base battery must be charged. That's a good start. I should probably get a battery charger inside. That would actually be better, because then they'd hold the charge instead of being out in the cold. Right, that's now finished. I'll stick 3 more in, and hopefully that's enough to get some sensibly high charge into this. Doesn't last long, does it? 2 more. Come on. Yeah, those turbines are hardly moving. I'm sure that's what's happened. Wind's making a hell of a noise, but it's not really blowing anything around. Just not exactly ideal. Right, anyway, never mind. We'll fix it. So, right, now I've dealt with that immediate emergency. Is there any battery left in this? No, there is not. So let's switch that out there. Let's turn this on. Let's put that chip in there. And let's just import that so it's blank. And we'll go to edit and we'll pause. Oh, and it's gone all quiet. Right, so this is going to be the power control chip, but I'm also going to use it just to initialize the sorter. So we're going to have an initialization and we're going to have a loop, and as we always do, we're going to yield and jump back to the loop. So that's nice and easy. Now what we will do is we will need to set the right sorter. So let's alias what should we call it? We'll call it something like first or sorter. We'll alias that onto device 0. The second or sorter will just be in its default mode, but the first one we're going to make a logic sorter. So in the default mode, obviously it'll just toggle. I might use a flip-flop for that instead. That might be better. But the sorter, we are going to need to do something to it. So first things first, what we ought to do is to clear anything already in that sorter. So let's clear. Let's actually be nice and use the alias, because normally I don't bother because I'm just too damn lazy to type it, and I just alias so I know what I'm setting the pins to. But let's do that. And then what we're going to do is we are going to do an SLL, and we are going to SLL. So we're going to put this into R11, one that we're not using for a while. And that is going to be hash for right. So there are 2 ways we can do it. We can either grab that number there, or we can make it a little bit more user friendly. We can grab the name and we can apply the hash to it in the code. So I'm going to do it that way for a change. Normally I just put the raw hash in, but you know, in the interest of doing things a slightly different way. So we can do that, and then that is a constant. So we're going to hash the item call, and the SLL is going to left shift it 8 bits. And then we need then to or that, R11 with itself, and then we need to do it with, now, pull this up and cheat a little bit. Sorter. Come on, I'm expecting you to help me here. Sorter instruction, that's the one I want. Sorter instruction dot filter prefab hash equals. Now what would be lovely would be if you could click on that and copy it, but I actually don't think you can. No, you can't. Okay, well that at least proves it. So, sorter instruction dot, have I typed that wrong? Prefab hash equals. I've definitely done something wrong there. What did I do wrong? Sorter instruction dot, oh, filter. Ah, there we go. Beautiful. Right. I mean, alternatively, I could have just hard-coded that to a 1. But sometimes I like to try and write neat code. So we're going to do that, and then we are going to put that across to D0. So put D0, and we're going to put it to address 0, and we are going to put R11 there. So that will push it onto the stack of the logic sorter. So if I were to pull up sorter here, logic sorter, we can see from here that what we are going to do is to push in an instruction of this structure. That's why I pushed it 8, was so that the prefab hash was pushed across 8 bytes, and the opcode, which is a value of 0 to 7, in this case it's a 1, will say sort it if the object equals item or coal. And that's fine, and I don't need to do anything else on these. You just need to do it once. And we want to put it in mode, now I think we want to put it in mode 1. I'm just going to really quickly double check that. Yes, we do. We want to put it in 1. Yes, okay, so then we're going to say set D0. See, I've done it again. First or sorter mode 1. And then let's be nice here. First or sorter. Okay, so that's the initialization. That just happens when we run the chip. It just pushes that. So it clears the stack on the sorter, and then it pushes in an instruction to say, if you get coal ore, filter it, otherwise let it go. So that just pushes it in, and then the sorter will do its own thing in the background. We don't need to worry about it anymore. So what we're now going to do is we are going to set the battery to D1, and we are going to load R0 from battery, and we're going to choose charge. In fact, can we just choose charge ratio directly on a station battery? We might be able to. No, we can't. We need to calculate it. Okay, that's fine. I've been playing around with code for AMIs recently, and on those you can actually get a charge ratio value, but the devices are not always consistent. So we'll get that. In fact, I might be even more cunning than that. I'm going to change this to a load batch, and I'm going to sum, and I'm going to sum. This will make more sense in a minute. And instead of putting that in there, I'm actually going to go get the hash for a station battery. And I'm going to do, okay, I clicked the wrong one. Well, I'll do it this way then, whilst I'm writing hashes anyway. Copy that, and we'll put that in there. Right, so that will sum the charge of all batteries on the network that this is on. and it will sum the maximum, and then we should just need to do a div, stick it in R2, just be nice. So let's divide R0 by R1. So that should give us a 0 to 1 value telling us the percent charge, and then let's say SLT R3, R2. Let's have the generator kick in if it is below 0.75, seems reasonable. And then we'll say S. Right, what we should do here, actually what we'll do is we'll, solid gen on R3. Right, so if R2 is less than 0.75, then the generator will turn on. R2 is the sum of the charge divided by the sum of the maximum charge, so the percentage full of all the batteries connected onto that network. Which at the moment there's only one, but it means if I add a second one, it's automatically going to look at that. So that should do the job. Obviously that assumes, well, it's going to turn the generator on. Whether or not it's got any coal in it is a different issue. We could check for that, but honestly there's not really any massive value in bothering to do that, because in the end, if you turn it on and it's got no coal in, nothing's going to happen. The only other thing we might want to think about is whether or not we want to flash some sort of warning light, which we might do if, for example, you're trying to turn it on and there's nothing in it. But for now, that's enough. That will do the automation. It just won't work if there's no coal. So that's that code written. So I'm going to export that to the chip. And I'm just going to stow that because I haven't actually got anywhere to put the chip for a minute. But in the meantime, I hear much happy clicking, which maybe means we have some more stuff arriving through here, please. Maybe. Copper. Amazing. That's what we need. Right. Okay. Now, we're going to need a second sorter, so that's going to need 5 copper, and then whatever else we've got left I need to use for cable, because we've quite a lot of cabling to do, so I'm just going to let that run until it runs out. And actually should have decreased that to 5. Let's throw that in there. That can go in there. It's ridiculous having to be this stingy with the copper, but it's what it is. That can go in there. Right, now we are going to need an IC housing, and I have a feeling that's going to need, yeah, I was going to say 10G of copper, which is not ideal. Okay, that's some more cable, that will help. And we have 2 sorters, that will also help. Right, so we're done with that. I need to actually drop some stuff now. And how much have we got left there? 8. Right, well that's going to end up getting consumed for cable. In fact, it's certainly going to... no, it's not, because I want to make one of these. I have to make one of these. Let's do it. Right, okay. If I find I've got one lurking in here that I forgot about, I shall be irritated with myself, but I don't think I do. No, what I do have is a spare basic chutes, so that can be added to that. Right, okay, let's go and get on with it. Let's turn that off, save some power, because we really don't have power to waste right now. Okay, so first things first, let's see about the shortest run I can get away with for connecting the chip. So I think I'm going to need to put it onto the wall here. Right, that's good. So as much more as I can save, I want to do so. Right, now let's have a look at what's going on up here. That's the earliest point that I could insert a sorter. Right, something's emptying, so I don't want to do it quite yet. Which one's emptying? That one up there? I can hear it emptying, but I can't see which one it is. It's not that one. There's nothing even in that one. No, I don't know. Maybe it's just the drills loading things up. Okay. Right. Alright, now's the time to do this then, I guess. So I'm going to need to get some cable off there. Let's do myself a little favour. Snag that, add that to it, and then put that back in, and now I've got blue cable. Right, so that's going to need to come up there. Let's just check which way round this is connecting. As I suspected, it's connecting in the way round I don't really want it to. So I'm going to need to get cable to basically there. I think that's right. Yes, it is. Okay, good. Right, okay. Would have been nice if it was connecting on the other side and it would have saved a little bit of cable. That would have really helped. Actually, that's probably the closest place to connect it to, isn't it? Right, okay. Problem is, I actually need 2 of these sorters, so that's the fine for the first one, and then we're going to pull some out. So I've got to sort of work out where I want this to go. I'm going to pull out from here, then I'm going to put a second sorter, which I could actually install now, and I'm going to leave that one in just boring old flip-flop mode. Say that, maybe I can't. Come on, that's it. Yeah, it's not exactly ideal. I can still walk underneath it, that's fine. Right, okay, and then that on there. Should be able to connect across here, I hope. No, not quite. Of course. It's shifted one sideways. Oh, that is very tight, but it works. Okay, I can't turn that on because of where that is. Okay, fine. Right, so we're going to put a sorter in there. That's going to split. This is a standard sorter, and what this is going to do is just simply take 50-50. So half of this stuff is going to get fed right back round on itself and merged in here. Though I'm not sure I can make that quite work. Right, hang on, I need to get on the roof anyway and turn this on, so let's go up and do that. Otherwise I'm going to end up clipping a chute where I can't then access the switch. Right, good, okay. Now I need... why am I doing this? I could have just used a flip-flop splitter instead of the second. That would have saved power. Am I ever going to... no, I'm not going to ever want to do anything other than that. There's no battery. Yeah, I have over-engineered the solution here. I could have just used a flip-flop splitter. As soon as I saw it, I thought, wait, I don't need to do it like this. Okay, well, you can go in there. Right. That's fine. Let's grab that out of there. That out of there, and then this one can become a flip-flop. To there. Would have been amazing if it was the other way around, and we're back to power critical again. Right, now the problem is going to be that I can't fit a junction in a way that's going to work for both of these. I'll have to put the junction there, which means I'll have to reroute that whole run to be across one, won't I? Which is even more annoying because actually that's a corner of 3. Problem with these new joined ones is whilst they're great and they save some, you can't split them. Yeah, it's kind of no other way to do that really, so it's just how it is. Just have to live with it. Right, okay. 5% power, I think I need to go change the battery on this suit, which probably means I need to throw that in there rather urgently. Come on! 3%. Turn the light off. Amazing. When 11% battery is looking good, you know that you're in a great state. Right, okay, so yeah, there's no way to do this. I'm going to have to rip that out. And replace it. Yeah, no, there's no other way to do it. Right, okay. Right, what I can do is a 3, I suppose. Come on. Oh my god, don't mess me about. Paranoid that it's going to trigger while I'm doing this. Should have turned it off, really. Right, okay, there we go, now we're in business. Now that goes into... Come on, that should just figure out where I want it. I've got everything in the right place. There we go. There. And that then just needs a single... in there. And that should have been a... just because I was rushing... needs to be a logic sorter, and it needs to go, oh my god, come on, there. Okay, right, and now we're going to turn that on, and I'm going to switch the batteries here so I can name it, so I can find it again later. Logic sorter coal, confirm. Right, now half the coal at the moment is just going to fly out of there. Wait, I've got more chutes through there anyway. There we go. Is that all of them? Yes, it was. That was just lucky. Right, now connect that onto there. Lovely. Then I'm going to just drop this down 1 now, so that if this fires whilst I'm still doing stuff, the coal ends up under the roof rather than flying out across it. Deal with that later. Before I actually connect it up, I'll run it along the top. Whoops. That was close. It's much too close. Right, okay, good. So that's the generator. I need a bunch more chutes. Oh, there was a 7. That was not really any good, was it? I mean, it's better than nothing. You can get it smelted. Right. That will definitely be enough. So we've done those. Get in there. Make me some basic chutes. Yeah, I hugely over-engineered that. Right, 3 more is not enough, but we should have enough with that other piece when it smelts. Not sure this is going to solve my power problems, but it might help. Just let that go, I think. Not quite sure how many I need, but I want enough that I can put in a bypass inlet and feed it as required. Let's get out and get started with these and get the chip installed. Right, so don't think I want a 10, do I? I think that's going to be too long. Yes. Take a 5 though. Thank you very much. Right, now let's rig up this end. So I want a junction in here. Just try to do this the right way around because I don't have a great track record of junctions, do I? Right, that can go in there. That can go in there. Might actually put a window in there. It takes an extra chute, but that'll allow me just to see whether there's any in the Of course, now I'm going to have my job making more in there anyway, so it doesn't really matter, does it? Yeah, it's 3 I need, right, okay. Just need 1 more to make this work. I'm going to be super fast because I am worried that that's going to mess me up. Right, okay, not great, because that's not quite enough to make an inlet. But I'll put that there for now. Right. Okay, I have actually got to be quite quick about getting that sorted because the power's getting low and I don't have a lot. Did I smelt that? Yes, I did. Of soot left. So I need 2 for the inlet, and I reckon I probably need 2 others for curves and straights just to get it about right. Let's do that. Didn't need to smelt that iron, did I? Never mind. It can stay there for a minute. Right. Actually, let's go. Let's do it like this. Let's go. Down 1. Out 1. And actually that's probably enough for an inlet there, to be honest. Put it up there. Low enough to reach. High enough not to accidentally drop stuff in. Right, okay. And then let's get some coal out of this vending machine before we die. Good thing is I can actually throw a whole stack in knowing that once the battery is charged it will stop. At least that's the plan once I put the chip in, but for now, get that going. Right, okay, now chip in here, use the compact variant, and grab the chip out of there, and let's just run it once so we get the air out and we can see what's what. And then let's set that pin to logic sorter. I've just realised that that sorter is on the wrong network. Damn it, I'm going to need a... now, how am I going to do this? I mean, I could just connect it to that network and run it once, but it's going to complain in future. I only need to configure it the once, though. Just modify the code just to do that. That's the simplest solution at this point. I know, health low, I know, it's all going wrong. Everyone relax, everything will be fine. I am allegedly a professional. Right, now, what we'll do then is we'll do a real quick and dirty connection on here somewhere. I suppose it doesn't really matter where. I'll just stick it on there for a minute. In fact, I didn't even need the... Right, we'll get that in there. Right, and now I'll just modify this code, so let's get that, turn that on, edit that. Right, and then what we're going to do is we are going to put a label there called end, and we're just going to go j end. And what we'll then have for the main thing is j in there, a j loop. So we'll just jump over this, but that's commented out, so this will run, it will initialize the sorter, it will jump to the end, and then it will just exit. Bonus points for anyone who's copying this script if you add an HCF at the end. They don't really do that. Right, that can now go in there. That can now connect to the logic sorter. This is a good thing about using stacks. Right, that just needs to run. Okay, so that should have done its thing. At which point that can now go back in there. Go there, that can go there, that can go there. We go back over here. And maybe before I even die, I can get this done. Come on. Definitely feeling the pressure now. Right, that can go there. Now we're going to just modify this code one more time. Edit that. We're going to rip that out of there so we don't even care. In fact, more than that, I'm going to take that line of code there and I'm going to put it there. And I'm going to send that out to the chip, and I'm going to grab the chip and I'm going to stick it in there. Right, so now it will completely ignore all the stuff for the sorter, so effectively we've got two programs running on this chip. And all it should care about is it wants the solid generator configuring on there, which hopefully we put to there. There we are, lovely. And that has cut off, which suggests that the internal battery is charged. That battery is certainly charged, I'll take it. Right, okay. So now really all that remains to be seen is whether or not this does its job. Something's happening at the moment, so if we're lucky we might even find out. Let's open this one and let it eject. I'd rather have several small stacks so that it can just burn a few when it needs to. I want to see that flip-flop change. Right, and in the meantime I didn't need all that extra wire now either. So we'll grab those two from there. Right, that's still spinning down and emptying. Yes, okay. So that's good. That fired some coal through. The first bit that was sent went around that loop and rejoined, so it's gone back inside, but it's now set up so the next bit it gets should come through there. So if I now... I mean, this isn't exactly a brilliant solution. Because it still relies on us having enough coal, but so I want to see that flick back, and then I'm going inside to drink before I die. Hopefully. And then if this is working, then we can actually start to get a few more things a bit more under control. The problem will be if there's no coal in the generator, so probably, there we go, lovely. So that at least one is now fired off down here. We might even see it go through there if we're lucky, although it might have been too slow. No, I think too slow. Okay. Well, anyway, that's good. Right. So I do probably need to just detect if there's no coal in there. I'm going to just, I think I might even modify the code to do that now, because I can stick the game on pause while I do it, so it means I won't die, which is always a nice bonus. Edit that. Pause. Right. So what we do need to do is say... I needed some sort of device to actually warn me, that's the only thing. Right, okay, what I'm going to do as a first tactical solution to this is I'm going to save to the device case setting R4, and R4 is going to be L4 solid gen. Now I need to just check this. I need slot. I think I need to take a slot. Slot 1 quantity. Slot 0 quantity. So actually it's load slot 0 quantity. It's not great, but at least that will write that value to the case, which will give me some idea of how much is in it. 4. Okay, so I can then use that and I can write to an LED or something later when I've got time, but at least I have a way of manually checking, even if it's not exactly automated. Right. Luckily, I'm coming inside for a little snack. I'm slightly more concerned about the fact I'm dying of thirst, honestly.
Oxygen critical.
There we go. See, quit whinging. And in here, it's not even complaining about oxygen critical. Rightly so, 30% oxygen now. Still at 9 on there. And if I get the spot on that pipe, which is notoriously difficult. There we go. Alright, we've still got 56 kPa of pressure in there, 18 degrees, so that tells me that the annex is a vaguely sensible temperature. We had it set to hold ideally between 20 and 25 C, so that's fine. Right, I would love to be able to connect that, but there is no chance of having enough cable. Actually, wait, before I do that, let's do this. Oh, that's where it's so annoying. If this had a variant that it was the other way round, we would be home free on that, but we're not. Okay, well, we need a couple more to get that connected. It's not a huge problem at the moment, but I would like to start removing some of that. Right, that valve is still closed as I want it to be, just to protect my main water supply. We've still got a fair bit in there. What have we got in the overall network? 13 litres. Probably it's time to open that then. Wait, I got some in here. A litre, well, we'll have that anyway. Okay, good. So it's going to just dump a little bit more out of there. Yep, right. Okay, and then that. Oh, wait. I do see the problem here. Okay, I'll fix that in a minute. I think I'll fix it now or I'll forget. Don't forget. Oh, damn it. I mean, I guess I could just not isolate it. I just don't really like... Well, I'll isolate it there. I suppose we'll have to because I need one more pipe. Don't really like connecting my main water supply to... There we go. The rest of the system. There we are. Right, okay, that is fixed. I now understand why that was not right. Right. So that's taken loads of liquid out of there. It's down to 17 litres, so that is going to become a problem reasonably soon. I mean, for now, we've now got 84 litres in this network here, so, you know, we're okay. But I need to get oxygen coming out of the system so that I can set up a combustor and create some water. Volatiles obviously will not be a problem. I can just harvest them from the atmosphere and that would be fine. Or indeed, I've probably already got a tank full of them in the annex, but right. That battery is looking very sad out there already. Look at that. 74. I've got 75 in here. Right, let's go. Oh, I should have done that. Never mind. There'll be another time for that. Right, do I have... I may need to burn that, to be honest. I'm going to eject it anyway. Do I have any more copper? Yes, I do. Amazing. I might actually be able to build some stuff. Oh, I ejected the wrong one though, because I'm an idiot. Right, let's throw that in there as a backup. Did that go in, or did it go over? I guess it went in. It still says there's 4 in there. I'm surprised that that has not kicked in. Very surprised that has not kicked in. It's very clear it doesn't want to kick in. I just thought, I wonder whether... Oh no, it must be connected at the other end, because otherwise... maybe it's not. It might be not a number error. May not have connected it internally. Right, more cable is required. Okay, that's a halfway decent stack. Right, I'm going to grab 20 cable. And I'm going to put the stacker that I didn't end up needing and the chutes back in there. And actually I'm going to put those in there as well. I'm sure I'll find uses for all these things in due course. Did I click that too fast? Did it not work? Guess not. Right. Turn off anything I'm not using, I think. See if that helps at all. Okay, so I need to go inside anyway, because I need to connect up that back pressure reg, which is, they're a bit power hungry to be honest. We could really have done without it, but we do need to do something. I need to start extracting the greenhouse gas so that we circle it round. Yeah, that's very sure it doesn't want to trigger, so let's go check it's connected. It may well not be. At some point I'll put some custom code on this airlock as well, but can't be bothered to wait for it to pressurise. Yeah, okay, there's your problem. Right. Okay, hopefully that will start charging. I guess we'll see quite soon. Don't think I can hear it running from here, no. If that starts flashing, then I've got a problem with my logic. But unless or until that happens, I'm going to attempt to... There we go. Okay. So that should start to take some of the excess pressure out of here, feed it back through into gas processing. That's charging, look, lovely. Okay, that's better. Now we've got at least a little bit of a safety net, even if it's a bit of a rubbish one. Good. Okay, next stop, gas processing. Actually, next stop is, can I make another atmospheric processor? Because if I can properly get that up and running in there. Although it's power hungry, so it may not be the smartest move, but... Right, okay, that's still got 3 in there. Yeah, okay, that is now running. Okay. I need to move this downstream of the generator as well, really. It's kind of useful having it out here for emergencies, but it would charge and hold its charge a lot better if I moved it inside, so I think I'm going to do that whilst I'm thinking of it, or at least take it off the wall. It serves no purpose other than being a faster charger than a battery charger would be at this stage, so we'll throw that in there. those two off there. Actually, I may as well grab that off there and put a single. Just clean that cabling up. That one arguably should also be downstream of the main battery, but it is useful to have one out here. At some point I'll rewire it all, but I haven't got the copper to do that right now, so you know, we'll just have to live with it. I'll throw that in there for the moment. It's going to run out of charge, but that's okay. Right. Let's go and see if I can make another atmospherics. That'd be really nice if I could. So we've got 14 copper left in there. Actually might be able to. I don't know whether any more came through here either. Kind of hoping that we can get the drilling operation really back up to full pace now. Back to the gold again. Yeah, okay. Yep. Fine. Okay. So we've got what we've got. Let's see whether that's enough. It might be. Need 20. It is not. Okay, that's fine. We'll do that later. I can at least prep the site, because I know some of what I'm going to need to do in there. Probably should have printed some white paint actually, that would have been clever, but let's go and deal with the nitrogen lines at least. I'm not sure this is a hugely sustainable power solution, but I guess we'll just have to see. Right, 15 degrees in here, so a little bit colder than I would have wanted. Just now turned the heater on, which is something I don't really want to do. I think that is the result of this allowing air into there to cool right down, so I probably do need to rip that out and put a valve in at some point so that when that's turned off it doesn't suck through, but I'll probably then also need a drain because what's in there could essentially get as cold as the outside and liquefy. Right. Anyway, let's do this bit at least. Right, so this is going to be the oxygen line. So a couple of things we're going to want to do here. We're going to want to have a mixer between the nitrogen and the oxygen. Of course I'm going to need those though, aren't I, for building the atmospheric. So actually, I don't think I've got enough pipes in here. No, I haven't. I've only got insulated. Oh, damn. I could dismantle this lot though. This is no longer required. Let's do that. Okay, there we go. Right, so I'm going to want a split line between the, I should have left that in that hand, between the oxygen and the nitrogen to use as a mixer. I'll also want to do the same, I think, out that way to make fuel. So if I do that. And, right, we need space for another tank, but we're going to put the output line there, which means we're going to want the input line there. And then the other thing we're going to want to do here is to have an upright connection there, which will then put a pressure egg on to pressurize up. Yeah, a pressure egg to pressurize up the tank connector that I need to put in there as well. Where's that black paint gone? I can't see it now. I'm going to have to turn my light on anyway. It's all very well trying to avoid it, but there it is. Actually, I needed one more there as well, didn't I? Yes, I did. Damn. Okay. Let's see whether I've got anything else I can dismantle over here. I guess actually I can dismantle that. I can dismantle that. And I can dismantle that. So that goes there. That's where the mixer's going to go. Then this one here, we're going to put pressure reg. So we'll put that in for a minute as a placeholder. And then we are going to put a T-junction, which I can't do because I need another pipe. Let's grab that one. I'm doing this completely wrong. What's wrong with me? Right, I want a T-junction, and I'm going to bring that out this side, and I'm going to put a small tank on top, so that we've actually got enough volume to sensibly pressurize, and that's where the pressure rig's going, and we'll put a corner on there. Again, I know I'm going to need these pipes back in a minute, but corner on there. And I'm pretty sure that's empty. Let's just double check before I cause some catastrophe. Yep, good. Take that from there, and actually take that from there, which is ideal. Right. And then that. Okay, there. That's going to be my oxygen fill. Yeah, that's right. Looks a bit mad while it's sort of floating in space, but actually could pressurize up a bigger volume. That might not be a dumb idea. Let's put it that way round. And put an inline double length in there. There we are, lovely. Right. And then the pressure reg will need, which side is it going to be for power? Got pressure reg kicking around in here somewhere? Yes, because we have this one there. So it's going to be on that side, so that's fine. Okay. So we're going to run the power to here. I love it when you kind of have to imagine where the components are going to be and build accordingly. There we go. It's going to go there and then round to there, and then that's going to go there. Lovely. That's everything we need other than a tank and a mixer. I can't immediately, right, so the mixer's going to need power in from this side, isn't it, as well? That's a good point. Yeah, that's going to be a right pig to get in, isn't it? Unless I peel that line off there and bend it back on itself. That's irritating. Oh no, wait, hang on. No, it's not. It's absolutely fine. Because I can do that. Okay. And, oops. There we go, amazing. I'm sure you can see exactly how that works. But the idea is we're going to put a mixer in there, we're going to use that to make a fresh airline, which we'll do something with. I'd probably set up another gas tank. I might have to extend this room to accommodate, but that's the general plan. So that's going to be nitrogen, oxygen to mix. That's breathable air. This is going to be the oxygen, pressurized, ready to refill the suit. So the oxygen atmospherics will go in there. And then we have another branch here. And we'll be basically doing an equivalent setup over here to make a fuel mix. But I don't think we've got enough parts to do that, so I'm not going to try that for now. But basically by the time this is done I should actually be able to mix all the gases I need in this room, and then that should work a bit better. Now in the meantime I'm going to sort out that use that valve. Do need a drain on this, it's the only thing I must not forget to do. Whoops, I'm glad when I can dismantle some of this temporary assemblage as well. Not quite. Nice try, but you're facing the wrong way. Wait, no, it's not. It was the right way to start with, wasn't it? Oh my god, that thing's so in the way. That's blowing outwards. So it's going left to right. No, that's correct. Okay. So we switch that like that, and then that needs a liquid drain on it there, so that if that over chills. Okay, fine. Right, okay, I have a plan, kind of. I don't think I've got a spare liquid drain kicking around anywhere though, so I suppose I best go deal with that before something bad happens. Don't think I've got much in here. I've got a volume pump, but yeah. Oh well, no worries. Might have enough for a pressure reg anyway. First things first, let's get this drain done. Oh, that needs copper as well, does it? Right, okay. I suppose we best get the copper out of here then. Unless there's any more come through. Be lovely if there was. Please say there is. There's not, is there? No, there's not. No. Okay, alright, well, I guess I just have to eject everything, so let's set this to 50, otherwise I shall regret it later. Do it. Right, get that in there. One drain. Pressure reg. One mixer. Stick that in here, I think. It's one less thing to have to keep feeding back through every time I have to eject from that printer. I think I put them all in a couple of, well, probably more than a few episodes ago when I thought my ore problems were over, but sadly I was overly optimistic. Right, okay, so all I need now is a tank and an atmospherics. Actually, I should say fair point. I'm 99% sure I can't make a tank, but let's have a quick look and just see. Oh, I actually can. Alright, let's take that. And I want some white paint. I also need some red paint, so will I take that? Right, ideally I would have had enough left over to make some yellow paint, but I do not. Actually no, I don't need yellow paint yet, that's for later. Right, okay, that will do for now. Let's go get the rest of the atmospherics set up as much as possible, barring the actual atmospherics unit. Batteries at 12%, so probably best to do this, and then I think that's probably about the good place to end the episode, but at least we have now got something resembling backup power supply, which is a start. I don't know how long it's going to last, but we have got that. No, it's not going to work in here without this turned on. Oh, damn it. Hang on, let's deal with that in a minute. Let's paint this. Oh, I needed khaki as well, didn't I? Right, okay, that looks good.
Power critical.
I know. I knew that would be a problem. I said it would be a problem, and it was indeed a problem. Why will you not snap? Snap to there, thank you. Right, in fact I want it there anyway, don't I? Wait, what? No, I don't want it there. The others are one further forward. I have actually done that wrong. I want it there. Of course I do, because I left it so that I have space behind for running pipes along the back wall. Right, that is that one.
Hydration critical.
Yeah, I know. It's all terrible. It's tragic. I'm going to die really soon. Right. Okay. So let's have that and that. This is where hopefully the magic happens. Look at that. Bosh, straight in. And hopefully that's the right way around. Can see through that. Right, yep. Bosh, straight in. Lovely. Right. So we're going to set this to could have done this with the labeler, but we'll set this to like 7k or something. Then that can pump that up. There's no point in turning it on right now, but that will pump that up. So that will give us high pressure oxygen ready to go into the suit, and then we'll adjust this one. So that's input 2. So we're going to adjust this to be 70-30, so more hydrogen than oxygen, because oxygen needs to be used for a bunch of other stuff. We've got a fair old amount in there anyway, so that should be fine. Good, okay. So we are, that was like magic, wasn't it? How that slotted together. Wonderful. Okay, so we're getting there with this place. That's a dead one, isn't it? I'm going to grab that because I keep seeing it and thinking, oh, I'll spray some stuff, but actually it's dead. That cable's redundant now, so let's have that back as well. Could get one more, but that'll be fine. Just grab a few bits, it's always useful. Right, here we go. See, I knew all this stuff I left just lying around in here would get used in the end. Right, I think we can probably ratchet this up quite a lot more now. This is, oh, of course it's... No. I don't quite understand what was going on there. Pressure's at 1.45. Right, okay, I think we should wash this right up, but there's possibly nothing in that tank now. No, there's not. Okay, well that's why. But I think we could probably put this up to about 6, 7. Something like that. Probably hit the spot. Hopefully it won't hit the spot in an explodey sort of way. I have blown up a few of those in my time, but there we go. Right. You can go... No, you can't. What's going on in there? Oh yeah, okay, fair enough. Right. Okay, let's get through here. And then I think it's time probably to head back inside. I forgot to add the liquid drain. Oops, run out of power. Run out of power. No, 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 no. No, no, no. No, 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 no. No, no, no.
Temperature low.
Okay, this is not a good state to be in. That's running. Right, I need to just get inside and sort this out and hope that that pipe doesn't burst in the meantime. I'm a bit concerned that we're going to lose power before this gets It's cutting out. Come on. Come on, you just need to empty. I don't need you to pressurise. Right, okay, we've got more power in there than I feared we might have.
Oxygen critical.
Yeah, well, it's not as critical as it was when you were outside, was it? It's a quick engine. Right, I'm going to connect this on here. That way up. And I'm going to yank that open. It clips through the roof in a slightly annoying manner, but never mind. That can go in there. And what I want to do is to make that green so that we don't have any screw-ups. So let's do that. There we go. Okay, right, that should charge. APCs charge faster than anything else, so... And then the good thing is it should hold its charge as well, because it's inside in the wall. Yeah, okay. Good, right, let's pump that up a bit. Top that up.
Critical.
Have a drink because we are quite thirsty. Okay, that's charging. Actually inclined to pinch this out of here. Oh, that's the other large one anyway, isn't it? Just do that. Then switch that and put that back in there. It's not great, but 9%, okay. Okay, right, this is starting to work. Right, okay, so there's a bunch of stuff out. There's 2 other pipes that I could have used. Right, okay, well, let's grab that. I can make use of that. Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised oxygen critical in the greenhouse when I'm flooding it with as much CO2 as I can, really, but there we go. Cook that, and I think then we're going to call it a day for this episode. But I think we've got at least some temporary power stability. I am concerned that we could be burning coal faster than we're digging it out of the ground, but we're not in quite the desperate state we were in a little while ago, put it that way, so I guess that's a win. Turn that off, just let it get any charge that's going in. There's no point in depleting it. Right, yes, so I think we're in a slightly better state. We'll just have to see how it goes, but there's definitely a few things that still need to be done. I do think I should go and put that drain on actually before I end the episode, otherwise I will forget completely, and we will blow something up. So let's, having just done all of that nicely, let's go back out here. Just try and finish off those last bits in atmospherics, and then we'll call it a day, but at least we've got atmospherics kind of running. But we don't have any oxygen yet, and some sort of power system. So we are slowly creeping forward. And I bet we still don't have any copper, do we? Oh, we did. I saw some. Right, you go in there. You go there. You go there. Right, you go in there. Grab those 2. We'll actually need an orange. Have I got enough? No, probably not. Right, how much copper is actually in here. 3. And I need 20. Yes, okay. Oh, so close. There we go. Well, that's actually a bit of a bonus. I didn't think we'd get that done this episode, but we were so close. It will need some automation on it. That's why I had the spare IC chip. I remember now I printed it ready for exactly this purpose, but there we go. I will take a manually triggered non-automated filter over no filter whatsoever at this point. How's this holding up? 0. That's not a happy state to be in, is it? I'm going to turn that down because it will feed these through. Right, okay. Yeah, I don't think this is actually going to be a very sustainable power solution, but it's a little bit better than it was at the start of the episode, I suppose. I need to get this configured as a proper airlock at some point as well, so I don't have to keep doing this manually every time, but there we go. That is a job for another day. No, not that way round. What are you doing? Like, you can see the power connectors, you stupid thing. Right, okay, so, pipes. Those are now available to do stuff with. Ah, that's where the other pipes were. I knew I had some. I had saved some. Oh, that's fine, you go there. Right, and, you go there. You go there. That's not ideal, is it? I'm going to smack my head on that every time, but never mind. Right, okay, at least now it is theoretically possible to extract oxygen. Not there is any in that pipe, but if there was, we would be able to do it. But I do need to think about what I'm going to do with that pollutant, because that's going to otherwise block this. Oops. There we go. And in fact, that is likely to be the issue. Right. Yeah, I would guess the problem is... no, to be fair, there's not much in there. I thought there would be a load of it. That's interesting though, that has not evaporated back through because there is not 300 kPa. That should be coming through there. That is higher than that. Why is that gas not moving through that expansion valve into that gas network? Suspicious. That should be happening. That should be equalising the pressure across those two. Right, well, that's the one to worry about another day. Right, so we've got no oxygen coming through yet, but I suspect it could be because, yeah, this is... oh no, it's at 3 MPa. Ah, that's because that's not turned on. That would help, wouldn't it? There we go. Look at that. So now we've probably got, yeah, quite a bit of oxygen. So I could turn that on and capture it. That would be lovely. There we go, our first properly captured, homegrown oxygen. So if I flick that on, don't want to leave this running. Yeah, these are not well positioned, to be fair. They looked good before I put the actual unit in. That should pump that up. Obviously going to empty this to do it. Good, okay. I managed to remember before I blew the pipe up that I needed to turn that valve on, so that's a definite bonus. Okay. So we'll process this out of here. There's not a huge amount in there. I don't know what the pressure's like in there. No, it's not too bad. We'll just let that process itself through. That's better. Look, yeah, 50-ish kPa. Good, okay. And obviously that's the same mix as what's in the greenhouse at the moment. So then the other mix that I will probably do is make a nitrogen CO2 mix, because we're out CO2. So we can just use the nitrogen just to bulk the pressure up, and we'll actually replace that with this feed here. We'll actually replace with a blend, a greenhouse blend, but not today. So I'm going to let this finish. There we go, you can see this is almost exclusively pollutant now. I just need to wait long enough that I can turn the oxygen processor off, because everything else will automate itself. I suppose I don't actually have to wait for it to get to 0, do I? But there we go, almost there, but not quite. It's going to be incredibly slow from here, so let's just flick that off. Just spotted a bit of pipe I missed. That was painting, right? That yellow can go in here, because I always use yellow for breathing air, just because, I don't know, really, I did once, and so I always have. Right, good. Alright, well this is definitely looking decent in here. It's sticking at 18 degrees. I'm hoping that radiator will turn off at some point. I guess what you ought to do is probably burn some stuff in the furnace. That would definitely sort it out. But for now, yeah, that's not running, is it? Before I go inside, I think I'd better eject some stuff. Not that there's much in any of these. No, it's very little indeed. I think we are certainly burning it faster than we're generating it, which is not a happy state to be in. Might have to have a further rethink, but let's grab some out of here. Do not want to go inside the hab at the end of the episode and leave that generator fully out of fuel. Find that the battery runs out. Yep, there we go. 58. I need a better way of measuring that, but at least I can do something with it. Right, okay, there we go. That, I think, is definitely enough for this episode. I've probably gone about 25 minutes longer than I intended to, so sorry about that, but quite productive. Atmosphere processing is now running properly, and we're harvesting all of the core gases. I do need to figure out what to do with pollutant. I'm not sure how useful it's going to be on Titan, honestly, because it just liquefies at such a low temperature. I think it's just going to be freezing constantly, but we might use it. It's got great specific heat capacity, so we might use it as a part of some sort of central heating system. It's something to think about, certainly. But for now, I'll probably just capture it somewhere. I'll just add some more space to that atmosphere processing annex, I think, and do something there. In the meantime, this is sort of semi-stable. So that's a good start. And we've got some more seeds, so that's also a good start. But there we go, and there we are. 3. Could have done with one more really, couldn't I? But there we are. Right, okay, I think that will do for now. As I say, key thing is the greenhouse is now got some sort of semi-stable atmosphere, which is definitely an improvement. Let's turn off things we don't need, shall we? And electric. There we go. So that's good, and we've got something resembling power, but more work for next time. But there we go. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed that. I feel like I'm starting to reach a stage where I might just make it on this crazy Titan base. Why you would want to come here is beyond me, but there we go. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you on the next episode. Bye for now.